In this next episode of OutLook TV, Trauma Clown at the Sum Gallery.
Vancouver Court and coronation plans with Empress Kendall Jenner.
Someone Like Me, documentary film, and much, much more.
Hello and welcome to OutLook TV. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And I'm Robert Mackay. And sunny days, the vaccine's not far away. You're watching the Queer Magazine news show that brings you the stories that matter the most from coast to where?
Oh, coast!
Mm-hmm.
We're going to kick it off in Calgary this time, checking in with the court.
The court for the Emperor and Empress. Those are two different titles, but two different people. What does it mean? I don't even know. Let's check it out.
We have the honor today to talk to Emperor Ryan Ginger and Empress Natasha Bright of the Imperial Sovereign Court of the Chinook Arch in Calgary. As they prepare for their upcoming coronation, let's find out how their year has been as Emperor and Empress.
So year one, we were very, very big in the community. We had multiple shows every weekend. We were out there. And then pandemic hit. 6 weeks before our coronation was the lockdown. Then we just basically moved to a virtual world, which Natasha's been absolutely excellent at managing for us.
It's been hard, mostly because I'm really bad with technologies. We have multiple different online drag show.
We have a really good one starting tomorrow night.
It's actually probably one of the biggest events that I have ever put on. We have 25 different performers.
From across Canada.
From across Canada and the United States. The Imperial Sovereign Court of the Wild Rose. They have a number coming in that is their entire upper house in one social distance number. We have from the Waterfall Empire, Miss Drew. We have from the Toronto Court, Nikki Chin. With that, we're hopefully going to raise some money for our charities. We also do have our auction going on at the same time, and our clothing and essential goods drive that's also going on at the same time. So the charities that we are supporting this year are HIV Community Link, Sharp Foundation, Children's Wish, and the Alex LGBTQ Youth Program.
So our charities have definitely been hurting this year, and we built a really good rapport with them last year. So as a result, what we've ended up doing is keeping them on for Reign 44.
No one to say the first goodbye.
The Empress title has definitely been very new. It was a push to get, and it was a struggle, especially with our past college members who didn't fully understand it. The Empress title is a non-conforming, non-binary title for people that don't fit into or don't feel like they fit into the male or female titles that we have in our court systems.
Hear you, but I won't. Some look for trouble while others don't.
Thank you, Your Majesties, for your years of community service. With joy, this is Sister Fancy Pants for OutLook TV.
In Vancouver, we're going to check out the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence and their Saint Night.
I certainly did not get my halo, but there's plenty of people out there in the community who's doing a lot more than me, so makes me feel bad, but makes them look great. Let's see what the Saint Night brought to the people.
We're here at the Junction in the heart of the Davie Village. We're here this afternoon to talk to a few new saints and find out all about the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence Saint Night.
We, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence of Vancouver, decree from this day forward, Matsui is now Saint Panda Cornucopia of the Compassionate Ear.
The idea is to appreciate and acknowledge the people who are making a difference in the LGBT community, well, any communities really, yeah. Making a difference for the homeless, for people suffering from HIV or whatever it might be. And it's sort of carried on from there to encompass anybody who is basically doing good works in the community and is doing the same sort of things that we try to do, and we love them for what they're doing. In this time and era, everybody is so basically depressed by what's going on around with the pandemic that we felt that we wanted to give something to give excitement to people, give acknowledgement to people. And so we did so many of them in one day. It was very magical. It's very acknowledging of what the community is and our love of the community. Saint lover of any cockle-doo and champion of all things queer.
Being bestowed as a sainthood with the Sister of Perpetual Indulgence is a huge honor. It was something totally unexpected when Diversity reached out to me and let me know. You know, I kind of don't really see myself as, you know, doing all that I do within the community and stuff. You know, I offer a venue for all our events and fundraisers that come up. We open our arms to all charitable events, and you know, it's unfortunate right now that we're living in a different world where we can't do them, and I really hope that we can get back to doing them soon. Without the community based, I don't think we'd be anywhere. Anytime that we do these community fundraisers and stuff, and seeing the support that comes out and the people and the networking and the people that support is huge and very important.
Vancouver Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence do decree that from this day forward, Kendall Gender is now and forever will be known as Saint Sasha. She's so fierce.
Felt really special and spectacular to find out that I was going to be bestowed into this sainthood. When I first initially took on the role of Empress, obviously I was doing it within the DMS organization, so it felt very special, kind of inside, to be recognized by a totally other organization. And the ties together made me feel really good. It felt really special. Community for me is the entire existence behind why I do drag. I think it's very important to remember that drag is so wrapped up in activism and within the community as a whole. So everything that I do is not just about me. I always like to find a way to give back to the community that supported me and supports me.
May your hoo-ha forever be satisfying.
From the Junction in Vancouver, BC, this is Patrick Massey for OutLook TV.
We're going to have to take a little break now.
I've been out in the sun for more than 5 minutes, so that means I need SPF, because I'm white as can be. Any SPF?
No, man.
No? Okay.
I got a tan.
We'll just burn. We'll burn.
Hello, bonjour, hi. My name is Kendall Gender. I'm the 49th elected Empress, and you're watching OutLook TV.
Welcome back. You're watching OutLook TV.
Do you know what puts on more of a smile on my face other than bright sunlight, fresh air, and a kick in my step? The Glad Bookstore.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to say something like Grindr, but okay.
Yeah, that too. But I need to cut back.
Yes, the Glad Day Bookstore. More than just books. Let's check it out.
Well, hello, OutLook TV. It's me, Ollie. And now I'm about to teleport myself to Toronto thanks to the magic of Zoom, where I'm about to meet Michael Erickson, the owner of the famous Glad Day Bookstore on Church Street.
Glad Day Bookstore is the world's oldest LGBTQ bookstore. So we were started in 1970 by Gerald Meldenhauer. So that makes us the oldest queer and trans bookstore in the entire world, not just Canada, not just North America, the whole planet. A lot of people know us from our Yonge Street location, and then we moved to Church Street a few years ago, and now we're a bar, restaurant, event space. People have described us as the living room of the gay and lesbian village here in Toronto. There isn't COVID, and we're running our kind of like full programming. You know, there's obviously a mix of events. So we are a bookstore. We want to prioritize literary voices. So we have book launches, open mic nights, poetry readings. On the weekends, we're a dance club. Our drag brunch is on Sunday. We have the longest running drag brunch in Canada, anchored by Aaron Brockovich, and House of Kings events. So Smut Peddlers is a project that a couple of our staff have launched. It's a zine of erotic stories written by some of our staff and some of our regulars. And it just got nominated for our Lambda Award, so that's pretty amazing. Years ago, we actually incorporated a nonprofit side of Glad Day. So it was Day Lit, and when the coronavirus hit last year, we really sprung into action, and we set up a fundraiser to help LGBTQ people who had lost their work, especially tip-based workers, cash-based workers. We've raised over $300,000. And the other part of that campaign was to give artists a way to get paid to keep performing. So we created GDTV, which is an online free television station that anyone can log into using Zoom. And then we've also paid performers. So on a regular basis, we have Chris Suchiuchi does a Cabaret Tuesday. So it's a live music show, has different guests that come on. We're supporting the House of Kings. We have Category Is, which is also like a gender performer. We've hosted quite a lot of burlesque, so including boylesque, TO. So there is still kind of like a little something for everyone. We've added more crafting workshops. We work with Flowing Market to help promote crafters across the country. So I just hope people will keep giving to the nonprofit so we can keep our programming going. I hope people will try to buy a book if they can online. If you live in Toronto, come by when our patio's open and grab some fries and a drink. And be vigilant, because a space like Glad Day, it won't last if we don't support it.
As you can see, Glad Day Bookstore has done so much for our community over the past years and recently during the pandemic. So if you can, please spread the word and donate. For Outlook TV, this is Ollie, virtually in Toronto.
So lots of people have things about clowns. So if we're doing a piece that involves clowns, we should give a trigger warning, right?
I would agree. I think so. Because we're not dealing with just your average clown. These are trauma clowns in an exhibit. There's a lot of them, and they're traumatic as can be.
You've been warned.
Yeah, and Vivek Shraya has got it.
We're here at the Vivek Shraya show at the Some Gallery in Vancouver. It's called Trauma Clown, and it's got lots of cool photographs and some really deep messages. Let's go in and find out all about it.
I learned to sing to please. I just think Vivek's work is very important. She is a multi-talented, multidisciplinary artist, and hasn't had a. This is her first solo visual art show here in Vancouver. Questions she's asking and presenting here are important, I think, and our trauma is asked to be relived over and over again, especially marginalized POC, but all marginalized folks are being, our traumas are often the thing that people want to see.
It's my project, Trauma Clown. It's a photo series that I launched, I want to say about 2 years ago, and it was inspired by me thinking through the ways that it seems that the more trauma I've revealed in my art, the more support I've gotten. And support, I mean grant support, institutional support, audience support and interest. And so that's where the project came from.
It took me a whole year after reaching the legal drinking age to finally have the guts to go to the roost.
I'm a multidisciplinary artist, which means that I like to pretend I can do a lot of things. My artistic journey actually started with being a musician. So I've made several albums. I'm also in a band with my brother called Too Attached. I have written several books, written a couple novels, a children's book, a book of poetry, graphic novel. I've also made a few short films. And what's interesting about Trauma Clown is it's one of my first forays into the realm of photography. So my visual art practice is still young and blooming.
The hottest guy in the room and spend the rest of the night obsessing about whether or not he would notice me.
Trauma Clown, it's a series that moves chronologically. So it's very much, I mean, hopefully all the photos stand out on their own as well, but it's definitely a series. And, you know, the way that you're supposed to engage with it is to go from number 1, lovesick clown, to number 9, which is your clown. And, you know, we basically see the clown appear and evolve and become more and more clownish, and then become consumed by whether it's galleries or media or the consumer. And so thinking about the photo project that way, I think is definitely informed from my background as a writer and storyteller. It's thinking about how do you use photography to actually tell a story in a particular way so that they convey something.
From the Some Gallery in Vancouver, this has been John Crossan for Outlook TV.
And now we're going to check in with the Vancouver Court. Angus Pratt talks to the Empress.
Kendall Jenner is exercising their royal duties by talking about past reigns and future reigns, including the coronation plans. Let's see what Kendall Jenner has to say.
This year has been very challenging for many people, especially those serving the public. Today we're going to speak with Kendall Jenner about her year as reigning 49th Empress of Vancouver.
So I was elected as Empress with an Emperor. So Sean Malmus is my counterpart, the designer, wig stylist extraordinaire. And he's been such an amazing support throughout this entire year. So for people that don't know, basically once you're elected into this role, usually you get the opportunity to raise money by throwing events, traveling across the country, bringing awareness, all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, I didn't get that opportunity. So we definitely had to be innovative and move it all digitally. Everything just became online. And then we put on these digital fundraisers where the artists would donate their time. You know, I would host them, and then we would, you know, set up the money in that way. So all of the money from the show would go towards specific charities that I was raising for in the DMS. So although we didn't necessarily get to throw parties, we still had a lot of support from a lot of different places. Being a biracial artist myself, being elected into this role as Empress, when the Black Lives Matter movement really came to a forefront last year, I decided to add Black Lives Matter Canada onto my charities that I was raising money for. We actually through the first big digital fundraiser that was called Visible, where 100% of the proceeds went to Black Lives Matter Canada. And I was actually told that that event within itself was the highest raising single event within the DMS history. We were also able to raise just over $9,000 for that event. Normally around this time we would be doing some sort of a coronation to obviously elect the next Empress and have myself step down, but because of the pandemic we are not actually throwing a ball just yet. So technically my reign was a full calendar year. So as of right now, it is over. And then what the DMS has decided to do is raise money internally. So people that were elected into the college, you know, past Empresses, also myself included, will be raising money throughout the next year until we can actually officially elect someone in. The idea of being Empress would be difficult to do again digitally. I think 1 year was amazing, and I'm very happy the way that it went. It has its trouble, so I think it's better to just put a pin in it for just right now, and then we get that amazing celebration for the 50th anniversary, something that we've been doing in Vancouver for 50 years. For the 50th ball, we are hoping to have it at the Commodore. I'm hoping that it's as grand as anything, because the balls are obviously like a cherry on top of the cake.
For Outlook TV, this is Angus Prott at the Junction in Vancouver.
We're going to have to take a little break now.
A little one. We're taking a big one. Look at this sun. I want to bathe.
Yeah, good point. We'll be back in a while.
Tomorrow.
My name is Felipe from Montreal, and you are watching Outlook TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
In this next segment, everything gets better in threes. Everything. Because we've got Meet the Makers number 3, and we're going to see all sorts of blending, I hear.
Oh, there's blending of teas, there's copper pipes, all the things.
People get artsy. Just go to it.
Well, hello Outlook TV, it's me, Ollie, and the time has come for a brand new segment of Meet the Makers. Today, I'm meeting 2 incredible makers. The first one, Felipe, is in Montreal, and he makes amazing copper creation with his new company, Cuivre. And the other one, Tyler, is doing amazing teas with Valley House Florals. Let's check them out.
So my new business is called Cuivre, or copper in English. The main idea is to use the copper as a main material, and I work in a very small space, but it's working so far. So I start making lamps because I find that people really love to have something shiny in their rooms. So I start making lamps, and then I start exploring new objects that it could be very interesting. Rack bottles for wine. The idea with this brand is to really highlight something in your space, to make it original, to make it something unique.
Why you love to be part of Pride events so much with your businesses?
I find those, even the Gay Pride or even this interview that we are doing, to show what the people is doing in the community. So I really love that.
Valley House Floral, my child, my baby. I started when I got laid off. I just started it with the idea of being able to create a blend for any occasion for everybody. The process for making tea is, it's kind of, there's multiple prongs to it. I have a love for languages, and the plant world and the flower world is full of symbolism and mythology and tales, and I like to be able to create blends that have a message to them. So anything or any ingredient that's used, I like to make sure that it kind of tells a cohesive story in a way, but also tastes good. Some teas and some ingredients, they have some wonderful messages. With the plant world and with the flower language, which is like Victorian times, even before that, everything spoke in code, and also, within the LGBT. And there's even certain ingredients that are very gendered, like there's an ingredient called butterfly blue pea, which is supposed to represent femininity and womanhood. And using that is wonderful because in that, it's a great ingredient in, say, a transgendered blend as well, because it starts as one color and can transition to a different color. So there's multifaceted symbolism and messages even within the ingredients themselves.
Make sure that you follow Cuivre and Valley House Floral on social media. For Outlook TV, this is Ollie in Vancouver.
We've got such a great combination coming together here. We've got National Film Board, we've got Rainbow Refugee, and we've got a Ugandan refugee.
Gosh, it doesn't get any more heartstring pulley, tear jerky than this. All the beautiful people out there making wonderful opportunities for others. I feel like I should be a better person.
Gets you in the feels, right?
It does. Excuse me, I need a minute.
Canada is a leader in allowing private sponsorship of LGBTQ refugees. The documentary, Someone Like Me, gives us an insight into this process.
I just want to be comfortable in my own skin, in what I own and in what I have, in the friends I have.
Someone Like Me follows the parallel journeys of 11 strangers across the LGBTQ spectrum here in Vancouver as they work together to help a young gay asylum seeker from Uganda come to Canada and flee persecution in Central Africa. So they work together over 15 months, and it really is a film about freedom and the freedom to be yourself without fearing violence, persecution, discrimination, and love who you love.
The thing with this film is we didn't know who was going to be in the circle, and we didn't know who the newcomer was going to be. So we went into this completely blind. Essentially, they chose us.
Fleeing persecution.
Well, I suggested, hey, bitch, but apparently it was too much for some people.
This is a verite style of documentary. So essentially, we are just basically showing up day after day with a camera and following things as they unfold naturally in real time. For this group, they were complete strangers. They didn't even know each other until they walked into the room in that first meeting scene in the film and sat down. They had to get to know each other on camera. And for Drake, I mean, he had to leave everything he knows and loves behind because of this one small part of who he is, his sexuality. So it's watching that, him come to Canada, and then everyone grow and change together over the course of a year is really at the heart of our film.
Your challenges in making this film were definitely not knowing who any of the subjects were going to be, not knowing who the newcomer was going to be. Shooting over 15 months was a challenge, and of course, the pandemic.
We had all these ideas for what we were going to film, and when the COVID-19 pandemic happened, we had to change everything. We had to negotiate with the National Film Board to send an iPhone out to the subjects, and so they could actually take the camera and film for a week. Those actually ended up being some of the most interesting and intimate parts of the film, is the people that you see on screen, how they want you to see them. They're filming themselves. And it's really intimate and really surprising that we went there. There's a few things we'd like an audience to take away from the film after they watch it. One being a greater sense of empathy for asylum seekers and a better understanding of, what the queer community looks like right now in the present, in 2020, 2021. And another big thing that we hope people take away is when you look at what organizations like Rainbow Refugee does and what the sponsors in this film did, one person can move the needle on these issues, and we would encourage anyone watching this to get involved, whether it's donating money to Rainbow Refugee or sponsoring a queer person from abroad and helping them come to Canada and start a new life. You can do it.
Well, let me tell you one thing. If you have everything but you don't have freedom, you'll never enjoy.
Thank you.
From Vancouver, this is Gary Wolfeder for OutLook TV.
That is all the time we have for this episode of OutLook TV. And, you know, I think we're going to go enjoy the sun now.
Oh, yes.
But anyway, we will see you again very soon.
Yes, and while we bake away and roast like suckling pig, you can go on the internet because it's always going to be here, unlike other things in this world. So shoot us an email, join us across Canada. We need volunteers all over for reporting on these many stories of Canada and queer culture.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And I'm Robert Mackay.
Stay safe, Canada.